get up in the morning one day and go out into your backyard and see this vision there. Like they are there in the morning. I was like, wow, that would be something really, really, really amazing thing to do. But anyway, so I'll have to take away this beautiful vision and then replace it with an equally beautiful vision, and which is of the Bhagavad Gita. So today we are going to start chapter number 3. So this is a very auspicious occasion. We'll start with prayers to the spiritual master. Om Jnanatimarandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dear Sri Radha Krishna, dear Sri Lord Chaitanya, we are all embarking on the chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita. So please give us the mercy and the intelligence that we read these chapters scrutinizingly and we get the message that you're trying to convey to us. Thank you so much for considering our request. Hare Krishna. So we will go to, I'm just going to minimize that and go to chapter number 3, which is called Karma Yoga, right? That's the name of the chapter, Karma Yoga. And you would have noticed that how Prabhupada, and we don't know why, but Prabhupada, chapter 1 has got English title. It says, Observing the Armies on the Battlefield, and chapter 2 says Contents of the Bhagavad Gita Summarized. But here he's using the word Karma Yoga. He's not translated that into English at all. So, well, maybe it's difficult to translate that into English to understand the nuances of karma. But anyway, we go over here and get started. So we talked a little bit last time when we met about Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 and what Krishna explained to him, the philosophy from looking at it from various angles, from Sankhya Yoga, Gyan Yoga, also from Karma Kandi activities perspective, and then he took him to Buddhi Yoga, and primarily, saying that how do you achieve peace, right? And let me just try to find my bearings over here since my screens are messed up. Okay, so yeah. So Arjun basically had this thing in his mind that whether I should fight or not. And of course, his inner voice was telling him he should not fight. And Krishna, however, of course, wanted him to fight because that was one of the reasons. Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam. So he had come there primarily to annihilate the miscreants, and that was his reason. And Mahabharata was one war that kind of did a lot of cleansing. Otherwise, Krishna was killing onesies and twosies like demons and all that. But Mahabharata, a lot of people lost their lives, and so he wants him to fight, but of course, Arjuna's inner voice is telling him that he should not fight. And after explaining to him in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 about that the soul is indestructible and from the Karma Kandi activities, trying to convince him that he should fight. But towards the later part of the chapter number 2, we see that Krishna started using the term, peace and happiness and things like that. And so it's not using the word fight there at all. And so, listening to Krishna from, you should fight, you should fight, you should fight. And then Krishna gradually, seemingly gravitating towards a concept of peace, which can be understood to be not fight. Arjuna gets confused. And so that's why in this chapter, he says that, O Janardhan, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? Because he had talked to him about fruitive work, right? Karma Kandi activities, that if you die, you'll go to heavens. If you don't die, then you'll enjoy the spoils of the war over here. But then later on, when he said, you use Buddhi Yoga, then now he's getting confused. So that's the question that he asked. So we will go dive down into this verse today here and see what Arjuna is saying in Sanskrit. So he says, Arjun, it starts with Arjun Uvacha. So we have to remember that part whenever Vyasdeva is mentioned, who's talking, then we mention that. Don't forget the first part. Arjun Uvacha Jayasi Cheta Karmanaste Mata Buddhe Janardana Tam Kim Karmani Ghore Mam Niyojayasi Keshava. Arjunuvacha Jayasi Chet Karmanaste Mata Buddhir Janardana Tatkim Karmani Ghore Mam Niyojayasi Keshava. And then we go to the synonyms there. Arjun Uvacha means Arjun said. Jayasi means better. Chet means if. Karmana means then fruitive action. Te means by you. Mata is considered. Buddhihi, intelligence. Janardhan, O Krishna. Tat, therefore. Kim, why. Karmani, in action. Ghore, ghastly. Mam, me. Niyojayasi, you are engaging. Keshava, O Krishna. Right? So, buddhihi, some keywords here. Buddhihi is intelligence, you understand? Karmana is fruitive actions, this particular verse. And niyojasi is engaging. And of course, ghore is ghastly. So, of course, um, war is always a ghastly activities. And so Arjuna is saying that, O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? And in the purport, Prabhupada says, and let's see what does Prabhupada tell us in the purport here. So he says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, has very elaborately described the constitution of the soul in the previous chapter with a view to delivering his intimate friend Arjuna from the ocean of material grief. And the path of realization has been recommended, Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness. Sometimes Krishna consciousness is misunderstood to be inertia. And one with such a misunderstanding often withdraws to a secluded place to become fully Krishna conscious by chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna. But without being trained in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, it is not advisable to chant the holy name of Krishna in a secluded place where one may acquire only cheap adoration from the innocent public. Arjuna also thought of Krishna consciousness or Buddhi Yoga or intelligence in spiritual advancement of knowledge as something like retirement from active life and the practice of penance and austerity at a secluded place. In other words, he wanted to skillfully avoid the fighting by using Krishna consciousness as an excuse. But as a sincere student, he placed the matter before his master and questioned Krishna as to his best course of action. In answer, Lord Krishna elaborately explained Karma Yoga or work in Krishna consciousness in this third chapter. So it's kind of like, laying the grounds of what's going to come up in this third chapter. So I'm going to stop sharing, which I already did. And I want you to, based on what you've heard so far, what are some of the words from the verse or from Srila Prabhupada's purports which have struck you? What are some of the words that you are reading or you heard me say that are, that caught your attention? Anything that catches your attention catches you. And Sutapa Mataji says that inertia, okay, that's good. And ghastly, okay. Vaishana Mataji says inertia. Okay, and ghastly. Anything else that you heard? trained in Krishna consciousness, secluded place, Virava Bhav Dasi, Vaishana Mataji, Neo Jasi, well, good, says Vindhyavali Mataji. Very good. Yeah, so some very nice keywords that you have picked up from here, right? And so let's go a little bit deeper into this. And there are certain many more things that we need to keep in mind. And of course, as you said, and as Prabhupada also says, that Arjuna is misunderstanding the situation, and he's thinking that inertia is a better way, and inertia is equivalent to Krishna consciousness. Question: it's a yes or a no question, so answer that only with a yes or a no, no elaboration required. So I have not yet asked you the question, Virabhava. How are you answering it? So my question to you is, answer in yes or no this question, and which is that, does Krishna consciousness mean inertia? Yes or no? Okay, everybody says no. Okay, right? Because Krishna consciousness involves a lot of work, because pure devotional service, it says it is Shilanam. You have to do some work. You have to work, and work. And it's amazing that, how we go, when we go to the temple, we kind of seem to get some sort of a superior energy and we're able to do much more in the temple somehow than we are able to do even in our own homes, right? When you get the connection and when you get the taste. I remember one Mataji used to help us in the kitchen chopping lots of vegetables, which is where actually today Sukomal Radhe Mataji, Sadhana Mataji, and Aruni Mataji are doing exactly that in the temple in preparation for Ram Navami tomorrow. And so she was chopping, and I think she must have chopped like 15 pounds of tomatoes or something like that very quickly. And then she said that Prabhuji used to say that, at home in the afternoon, Sunday afternoon, you're saying, oh, I did so much of work, I'm so tired, my back is hurting. And then we come to the temple, and then I don't know from where you get that energy. You then sit down and you chop and you do so much of work. So yeah, so that is because devotional service involves doing a lot of work. And but our dear Arjuna thinks otherwise, right? And here, one of the words that Prabhupada also used in the purport was that that people, Arjuna is thinking, and he also says that people think that we will go and sit on the top of in a secluded place, maybe on the top of a mountain, and then everybody will say, oh, this is Yogi Maharaj, and do you know what a big sacrifice he has done? He's given up his home, whatever, and now he's sitting over here in isolation. Now, one of the things that we should keep in mind about isolation is that, it is okay if you can't do anything else, if you can't be around devotees, if you can't handle devotees, if you cannot handle seva, then in that case, okay, go to the Himalayas. But the prime thing about devotional service is that it involves a lot of activities. And one of the things that Prabhupada, in one of his lectures, he cautions us. He cautions us about withdrawing into a secluded place. Now, why do you think? Why do you think he says that do not go into a secluded place? Why do you think Prabhupada is recommending that we should not go? Any thoughts you want to put on the chat? Okay, and of course, I see that our Vindhyavali Mataji is also doing a lot of cutting vegetables and cooking. So Garima says that we should not go into a secluded place because senses are very strong. Yes. And you will not get association. Yes. Yes, Simi Mataji. Yeah. And then you'll try to do that when you're eager to get adoration. Yes, right? Because are we really, one can get carried away with the wrong thought. Yes, very nice. And which kind of leads me to the second question, that are we really alone? When we go to a secluded place, are we really alone? No, no, no. I get so many no answers. And so why do you think we are not alone? Who is with us? Not mentally. Yeah. Right? So Tapa Mataji says we have the mind who comes with us, and she's right, right? So this is what it is. So your mind is there. And so that is why Prabhupada is just saying that, just staying there. And the real test comes of the control of your senses really comes when the senses are present and when the temptations are present in front of you, right? As in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, we learned that you should be like a tortoise who withdraws all the senses. But then what's going to happen? There's going to be a turmoil in your mind. So it's going to Himalayas is sort of another way of, sort of withdrawing your senses, because I don't see people. So what is the big deal? So all these interactions that we have when we are trying to do some seva, right? Or we're doing some preaching work, we're trying to distribute books, we come across so much of resistance and so many obstacles. And each of the obstacle is actually a test for us. It's a test for us to know how much have we understood and how much have we really learned how to control our senses. If there is nobody to provoke you, how will we even test? How will we even know whether we have learned how to overcome provocations, right? So staying up in the Himalayas is, the moment you come down, then you have brought all the vices back again. The purification again might not happen, primarily for the reasons that you have mentioned. There's no devotee association, there's nobody to guide you. You are left all alone with your mind. And the mind can tell you, you can go up to the Himalayas, and one day in the morning, the mind can tell you that, let's go to sleep. And there is nobody to tell you, hey, it is Mangalarti time, right? So, so it's very important. And Prabhupada says that that keep this in mind, right? So, he also said that there were some instances where, you see a yogi Baba, he's living all alone in his room, kutia, and you think he's chanting, and maybe he's chanting also. And then he comes out and he has a beedi or a cigarette in his mouth, So he cannot give up smoking. So then what to talk about other things that, that he's required to just give up, right? So the important thing to keep in mind, is that first you have to become pure. And then you can think of going to a secluded place. And actually, as you become pure and more purified, then you might decide that there's no need for you to go to a secluded place. Now, so there are two kinds of devotees that are there. They are known as Goshti Anandis and Bhajan Anandis, right? So Goshti means a committee or a gathering. Goshti means more than one person, right? So so Goshti Anandis are one who are happy. The Anand, they get happiness when they are with many people, right? And then there are the Bhajan Anandis. They are the ones who like to stay secluded in a secluded place, and they want to do the bhajan over there. So now my question to you is, which one do you think is better? Goshti Anandi or Bhajan Anandi? Goshti or Bhajan? Take out your pads and give me the answer. So Viraha Bhava Mataji says Goshti is better. Sutapa is also saying Goshti is better. Okay, and let's see more answers. And Vindhyavali Mataji says Goshti is better. Varshana Mataji says Goshti is better. Okay, so yeah, and Hare Krishna just got back. Okay, Hari Mataji has come. All right, so very good. Sadhana and Sukumal Mataji are still doing the chopping. They're still doing the seva there. Okay, so and then Vindhyavali Mataji has a change of heart, and he says, of course, Bhajan Anandi is also there. Okay, and then there we go. Okay, so now if you look at our parampara, we will see that we have Bhajan Anandis. Of course, we have Goshti Anandis. We like being around people. We are preachers, right? So preachers will preach. And so Prabhupada, you look at that, going all over, not, so much of Goshti Anand, going all over the globe 14 times, right? And asking us all to preach. You go out to do book distribution, right? You go to the temple, meet with the congregation, and so on and so forth. So you're surrounded with people, right? And which will be a good test for you to see your patience when you come across people who are not following your line of action, or if they say something to you which you are understanding otherwise. How do you handle those situations, right? So that's a test, right? Now, so given all that, can you tell us that our parampara, right, which starts all the way from Brahma to Narada, right? So Brahma is speaking, Narada, big time Ghoshti Anandi, he goes across different planets and so on and so forth. So all of this parampara. So do you think, so in our parampara, who would be there in our parampara? Ghoshti Anandis or Bhajananandis? Given what you see, okay? Virabhav says you'll have both. Bhajananandi, okay. Prabhupada is one example. Ghoshti Anandi, says Vaishana Mataji. Prabhupada is an example of Ghoshti Anandi, sorry. Right? So the interesting thing is that, yes, our parampara comprises of lots of Ghoshti Anandis because that's the way that we go. But it doesn't mean that our parampara does not have Bhajan Anandis. We do have Bhajan Anandis. Gaur Kishore Das Goswami Maharaj is one example of that. So why do you think in our parampara we would need to have Bhajananandis who go into a secluded place, who will not make thousands of disciples, will stay alone? Why do you think we need them? So Bhajanan, Ghoshti Anandi doesn't get self-realization. If a Ghoshti Anandi doesn't get self-realization, then we are on the wrong place. We bet on the wrong horse because all of us have to be self-realized, right? Garima Mataji says that to benefit all of us. And can you elaborate a little bit more on that answer? Maybe you'll lead us to the right answer. So most of the people, like, come to Krishna consciousness through different ways, but then, most of the people that we influence and bring them into Krishna consciousness is through the distribution of a book, right? So we find them in the street, we grab them and we give them a book, right? Some prasadam and all that. And then they go home and they read. And they read and read and read and read. And Prabhupada is talking to them. So they have association, not a lot, but a little at least, but a strong one. And so they are in association with Prabhupada and they're reading everything. They have, all the spare time that they have. They have, Saturday, they have got Sunday, they read the book, right? And then, of course, as they're reading the literature, they find Bhagavad Gita, and then somewhere they read about Srimad Bhagavatam. Somehow they find out, Krishna, from where to get Srimad Bhagavatam, and then they get the Bhagavatam. They read the Bhagavatam also while they are sitting in their homes. So they do all that, right? And they're relishing it. They're relishing all that. And then as they're reading through the purpose of Srila Prabhupada says that, you should go to a temple, go visit a temple, go do some seva. So then they try to find out where is ISKCON. And somebody tells them, they start watching things online and they get attracted to the devotees. Now they want to go and meet them in person. So they go find a temple. And then, of course, they go there on a weekend. So once they go to the weekend, somebody says, "Oh, Prabhu, yes, here are the dishes for you to wash." And they wash this. And then newcomer, everybody gives them a lot of seva. So they end up doing a lot of work. And by the time they reach home, they're exhausted. But they have got the taste of devotee association. So every weekend now they are coming. So what happened to the book that they were reading? Right? It gets left. Unless they go into a very strong regimentation, they attend classes on doing time management and they know how we should manage our time, how we should balance our time and things like that. But then majority of the time goes into seva for them. So they don't have sufficient time to do the intellectual pursuit, which is also required. So in a parampara, you will require bhajananandis also, who will go deeper into the shastras. So they won't be doing any other thing. They'll go deeper into the shastras, dig down, write commentaries on them, and then explain it to others, and thus others will then the bhajananandis will just go, and goshti anandis will then go and dissipate it to many, many more people, right? So they also need that peace and quiet of time to be able to focus on and go deeper into the shastras. So they might go into seclusion. So it's okay for them to go into seclusion. But before we can think that we are ready to go into seclusion, we should have conquered our senses. We should have come. So Prabhupada, cautions us and says that, first you have to become mature, means you have to conquer your senses. And then you go to a secluded place, because if your mind is not conquered, there is no such thing as a secluded place, because your mind, which is an enemy, is there with you all the time and is going to put you on the chariot and will drive you to all the places all over the world, although you might be sitting on the top of Mount Everest, like that, right? Because Maya is there everywhere. Maya is going to dictate you unless we learn how to control Maya like that, right? So we might think that I'm sitting there on the top and I'm in a quiet place, nobody bothers me, I don't do any job and things like that, and I'm advancing. No, there's nothing. There is no advancing there, right? So advancements, we can say that you have advanced in devotional service. You can advance in devotional service only when you see the results. You cannot say, like, oh, I'm a devotee, all right, and that is why Arjuna had asked that question, Sthita pragyasya kya bhasha? How does a devotee, right, behave? How is he situated? How does he talk? How does he walk, right? So if you have not learned that thing, and we say, I'm chanting all the rounds, I'm doing all the seva, I'm doing, reading all the literature, I memorized all the slokas and things like that, right? But if you don't know how to keep a distance between when the provocation comes and we do a response to that, right? If you don't know how to increase the gap, as I'm saying, between thinking, feeling, willing, and acting. If you don't know, have not yet learned how to increase that gap, then there is no progress. I could be doing anything, right? So sometimes these provocative situations will come in our lives as a test for us, right? And these kind of tests are not going to come to you if you are in a secluded place. In a secluded place, I'm the perfect person, right? Because I have theoretically understood everything that is to be understood, right? What's the big deal? Should not have any pride, should not have arrogance. Easy, it's not rocket science to understand that. But to apply that thing in life is what requires practice. And so that is why sometimes around you in devotee association also, you will have people rubbing you the wrong way. And so instead of getting all worked up and saying, that person is a devotee and how dare does a devotee act to me like that, we have to see and ask Krishna, that's where humility is required as one of the virtues in a devotee, that Krishna, this thing is happening to me, which is contrary to what I expect, right? Please guide me and tell me, what is it that I'm supposed to learn from this incident or this circumstance or this event which has come in my life? Give me the understanding so that I can understand and learn from this particular experience, right? So that you will get, when you are around people, and you won't get much options. I mean, up in the top of the mountain, there's not even a monkey to, scare you probably, or annoy you like that. So gyane prayasa udapasya namanti eva. So it says that, in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Brahma is after he's completed with the Brahma Vimohan Leela, where he hid all the cowherds and the cows and the calves of Krishna. And afterwards, when he starts to feel bad about it, so at that time he then glorifies. He's saying some prayers where he's glorifying Krishna. And one of the things that he says in this particular verse is that I mean, there's more, not a direct relationship with what I'm talking, but there is something there. And the main thing what he's saying there is that that those people who give up, they give up their process of speculative knowledge. Speculative knowledge is, I'm going to use my teeny weeny brains and I'm going to try to understand Krishna. That's what it is. I think like that, and this is right because I think and I can think like that, right? So those who give up that this process of speculative knowledge. And the key point which I want to bring from that particular verse are the words sthane sthita. So sthane sthita basically means that you be situated wherever you are. Wherever you are, you be situated in that. And there you use your mind, your body, right? And your intelligence to glorify the Lord, right? And one of the ways of glorifying, so you can glorify people in two ways. You can glorify people by glorifying them using words and saying such and such person, he's got, a lotus feet and he's got nails and they're effulgent and he's beautiful, all that you can say, right? Another way of also glorifying people is by glorifying by your actions. You glorify by following the instructions of that person that you're trying to glorify, because there's nothing like doing what the other person is trying to propagate or is trying to teach to you. Following that is the best glorification of the teacher, like that, right? So that kind of a glorification. So it says that sthane sthita, so you stay wherever you are, in whatever circumstances you are. It doesn't mean that we have to run away from America and say, I've got to go to India. In India, you go reach there, you say, I have to run away from Delhi, I have to go to the Himalayas, right? Like that. And you're sitting in Himalayas, now you learn more about the universe. Now you want to go to Gandhamandan mountains. There's no limit to where you want to go, right? Like that. But what Prabhupada is saying is sthane sthita, you have to stay and trying to practice Krishna consciousness where you are, is the real test. And that will be the real experience for us. And this is what Krishna is also trying to tell to Arjuna. Because what is Arjuna trying to do? He's not trying to do sthane sthita. He's trying to run away. He's there situated in the battlefield, but he's trying to run away from there. And he's saying, well, you know what? Oh, you told me Buddhi Yoga. If you talk to me about peace, then why are you asking me to engage in this ghastly warfare? He's trying to run away. But Krishna, we know, it's not that Krishna doesn't want him to fight. Arjuna has just, we also try to, our mind is like that. Our mind, if it's untamed and uncontrolled, is our biggest enemy. So if you are on a particular track, right? If you are in a particular track of thought process about a certain particular person, right? For example, suppose for some reason I'm angry or I'm upset with Varshana Mataji, right? Now, so what my mind will tell? She did something and I'm upset. Now the mind will sit and rake and tell you, 40 years ago, or for all the 4 decades that I know her, whatever wrong she did, the mind will tell you. Anything good that she did, mind will not remind you of that. She could have done more good to you than bad, but it'll just focus and narrow down on that 1, 2, 3 stray incidents and magnify them. This is what the mind does. It magnifies things. It'll magnify and it'll present it to you, right? The second is that mind can also interpret things in the wrong manner. Any innocent statement that she says, the mind will twist it and present it to you so that it gets presented in the wrong light, like that. This is what mind does. Uncontrolled mind will do that, right? So saying that I'm going to sit on the top of the Himalayas with my uncontrolled mind is not a good idea till we have become very strong, very, very strong. And then once you become very strong, by following the regulative principles, then they actually lead to freedom, right? We talked about regulative principles of freedom, right? You reach a stage that, by practicing in various situations that you come across, when you learn from these experiences, and then the Shastra, right? So when you start living your life righteously, why do you think they say that knowledge is not important? Isn't knowledge important? Why are we having this class if knowledge is not important, right? So we have to keep in mind that, Knowledge is a concomitant factor. See, first you had the desire to do devotional service. You came to Krishna consciousness. You came to the temple, and then Krishna will arrange. He'll send some speaker. He'll bring in COVID so that you sit down and you read the Bhagavad Gita. So knowledge, actually, and vairagya also comes as a concomitant factor. It'll come, right? So, but first we have to purify ourselves so that that knowledge can sink in. And so, if we are saying that I am advancing in devotional service, there have to be some concrete results. And the concrete results are not necessarily measured by how many verses of Bhagavad Gita have you memorized. It really comes on how many verses of Bhagavad Gita did you really apply in your life. The famous verse that says, Karmaneva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. How many times did you say that I'm just going to do the work and I'm not going to focus on this result? Like that, right? So, so as you progress in devotional service, right? So what happens is, as you progress in devotional service, you will get detachment from things. And what does detachment mean? Detachment is not necessarily that you get detached from people. It's not that, like I took the example of Varshana just because I'm friendly with her and I can put her on the spot. So like, for example, if my mind was so much against her, whatever she was saying, I was not liking it. I was looking for loopholes. I was looking for bad things in anything that she did and said. But as I evolve myself in the devotional service, even if my mind was really right in pointing out all the wrong things that she was saying, I raise myself and I have come to that level, a much higher level of consciousness where I'm looking at her, at those words objectively. I'm not affected by whatever that she says. And actually, as I evolve in devotional service myself, right, I am, compassionate. So you see how the mind has not changed from an enemy, now has become compassionate for the same person. And that person hasn't changed. That person is still doing whatever they were doing, right? I mean, Vaishana won't do such a thing. I know she's such a sweet person, but I'm just giving you like an example that this can happen, right? So bhakti pareshanubhava viraktir anyatrati ekakala prapasyamanasya syu shushti pushti shud apayonughasam. So what it says, Bhagavatam says, is that how do I know if I'm progressing in devotional service? You will know it. And anybody else doesn't have to come and tell you, because nobody lives inside your mind to tell you where things are, right? You know. So it says that bhakti pareshanubhava. So when you do bhakti of this transcendental Isha, of this controller of Krishna, right? So you will anubhav. You will know by practical experience. You will experience certain things. And what are the things that you're going to experience? It gives an example. Viraktir anyatratri ekakala. So knowledge and renunciation will happen, at the same time. So what I will be renouncing will be my reactions to when people provoke me, and not necessarily that person who is provoking me. I won't renounce that person, right? I'll still want to be in that person's life so that I can affect a change in that person's life by my good behavior or by my prayers or by my prasadam or something like that. So when as you're progressing in devotional service, how will I know, right? How will I know? It says you will know. Just as when a person sits down to eat, you're very, very hungry, like tomorrow, 12 noon, Ramanavami, that's when we are breaking the fast. There are a lot of questions people are asking me. So you break the fast at 12 noon tomorrow for Ramanavami. And then always the big question asked is that, should I break with Ekadashi prasadam or should I have normal prasadam? So for Ramanavami, 12 noon, you break with normal, complete, full prasadam. Now, is that not good news or what? So anyway, so it says that when you're very, very hungry and you sit down to eat, so with each morsel of food that you eat, right, you feel the hunger is going away, right? You feel that you're getting some nutrition and you feel satisfaction. And you will know how much you're getting, how much you're not getting, right? You will know. And so once we raise our consciousness, from a lower level to a higher level of consciousness, in the beginning, it's more like, I'm the best devotee. And if progressing in devotional service meant that you come to the conclusion that you are the best devotee, then Bhakti Vinod Thakur, right? And other acharyas would not have written poems like, Masama Patita Prabhu, Nahi Tribhuvane. So there's nobody more fallen than I am. They would not write. So the real progress of devotional service is actually you get that humility to understand that there's so much good in others because we see good in others. One of the things in devotional service is, progress in devotional service is that you become like the honey bee. And the honey bee always goes for the honey. Do not be like the fly who goes after wherever there's a sore, there is pus and blood and all kinds of unmentionable things. The fly goes there. So let's not do that. Even when you're looking at people's actions, right? Even when you're looking at people's actions, try to see there could be some good in it, and there could be Krishna's message in it for me, like that. Okay. So I will stop over here and I will open the lines for you to share your questions and your reflections. And I see there's already one hand raised. Wow. Okay. So I'm allowing you to unmute yourself. I'm removing the spotlight from me. So I saw Varshana hands go up and I don't know which order. Sutapa and then Virava Bhav. Okay, we'll take them all. Go ahead, Varshana Mataji. Can you unmute yourself?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam. Mataji, Bhajna Nandi and Goshti Nandi, I think both the combination is required in the devotee. That when we sit together, we chant together, and we see others and we get motivated that the other person is doing it so well. And sometimes when you go off to sleep, the other person wakes you up and you become alert. So that is the benefit in the Goshtanandi. But when Bhajnanandi, when you have to introspect that where did I go wrong? Why did I sleep? Why shouldn't I be more careful? That we do when we are sitting in a secluded place. So I feel the combination of two is very important. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. And I'd like you to think about this. Good point. I would also like to think about that. Can that introspection also happen with somebody else? Do extrovert also go through that exercise of what went wrong? Why did I sleep? And why did I do this and that? Do you think it can also happen in a goshti? Does it? Can it happen? Can you sit with your mentor? And
it does happen, Mataji.
It does happen, right? Yeah. So when we're talking about
Mataji, it does happen.
Yeah. So you see, so there lies a subtle difference. So then there will be a dormant trait. Some people will be like 100% Goshtiyan and they don't care. They're sitting in the temple and over prasadam loudly they're talking about I did this and this. I can't wake up, and they are Goshtiyan and they like to be around people. And but some of them have got a mix of that, just like three modes of material nature can mix. So they will have a little mix, like, all right, fine, other thing, but yeah, my little personal thing, I just want to handle it personally, right? So I just want to do it. But again, remember that if you're doing that exercise all alone, we might not always get all the answers. So we need, at least if you're not need a goshti, at least if we don't need a goshti, at least we need one mentor, right? One person who can guide us, your spiritual master.
That might be Gossip Anandi Mataji. Gossip Anandi.
There you go.
Not Goshtanandi.
Yeah. Prajalpanandi.
Prajalpanandi.
Sanskrit, yeah. Good. Yeah, but good point. Yes. So there are mixtures of that. Yeah. Okay, Sutabhavataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The reflection means about the mind. Means so many classes I have joined, so many lectures, so many books already have read. Still, we have to fight with the mind. Means sometimes it's became a very big enemy. Like last 2-3 days, some person did very abominable work, means behavior with me, and then person came back and they did not ask for the forgiveness or no sorry. But then as a devotee, when I think that what should I do, how should I walk, or how should I behave, then I thought that keeping quiet will be the good thing. So Mataji, my question is, but inside my mind, that all the past things are coming back repeatedly. I'm not behaving in a, I'm behaving very, in a very good manner, but the fight or the turmoil is going inside the mind. So at that moment, how we can control, or what should we think as a devotee?
Yeah, I would. And so you think you were a failure there, right? In this instant, right? I am seeing this as a success. Why? Because you control the Vachu Begum. This is a very big thing. This is a very important milestone. And Vachu Begum is not necessarily speaking. Vachu Begum also means writing emails. You can vent through other medium, going to Facebook and writing something bad about somebody, right? Or text messages, WhatsApp. And you all have told me about so many instances, right, that happened. So I would say that's a very big achievement, right? And then we have been talking that this is what the mind does. And so the purification of the mind will happen again and again by chanting the holy names of the Lord. There's no other way, no other way, no other way. Shunvatam swa katha Krishna purnya shravana kirtanaha hridyantasto hi bhadrani vidhunoti shuhit satam. Right? So this is all the dirt that has accumulated in our mind, in our psyche, right? The dirt of lust, anger, greed, ego, pride, like that, right? So how can that person behave badly with me? Right? So those thoughts are coming to it, and then we have retaliated for millions of lives. So all that is samskara is already there, right? So those impressions are very deep. And so we are sitting there with a sandpaper and rubbing all the ridges off so it becomes smooth. And so it takes a long time to remove all that. And it's a long process, but it has to be done. And you just continue doing it, and you will mark progress. So also you should always celebrate these victories. Have a journal, right? Write in a coded manner, because you might not want everybody to read it. Write in a coded manner your victories. Like, look at the positive, always look at the positive, because if you look at the negative, that I failed, then there are chances of giving it all up are very high. But so we have to learn to celebrate small victories and thank Krishna for that. Be grateful to Krishna because those victories didn't happen because of that, right? And slowly with practice, it'll go away. One thing at that provocative time, when the material modes of material nature are grabbing you from all directions, the only thing that can mitigate that attack is something which is higher than material. So what is higher than material is spiritual, right? Lowest is the dull matter. Above the matter, the senses. The senses are not helping me at this time. Okay, then go to the mind. Mind is bewildered. Go to the intelligence. It's gone to sleep. Go to the soul. It doesn't know what to do. Okay, go to super soul. Right, super soul. You go to super soul. He's the other bird, right? If you turn your face towards the other bird, he'll look at you. So when you turn your face towards the super soul, how do you turn? Chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And if the person offending you is in front of you, because the mantra is transcendental, it will have its effect on the other person also. Might not be instantly visible because of the layers of dirt that might be on that other person's mind, could be, but it will have its effect. The holy names of the Lord will have its effect, no matter whether a person knows this fact or not. And Prabhupada gives such a wonderful example. He says, two examples he gives. One is that he says that if you don't know that fire is going to burn, does it not burn? Right? I don't know. Children do that, right? They don't know fire burns, so they'll go and they'll catch the candle, and then they'll start crying. So if you don't know the potency of something, it doesn't mean that the potency will not act. So that's one thing to keep in mind, right? And second thing also is, if you don't know how something works, if you don't know how something doesn't work, how something works, it doesn't mean that it will not work. For example, these days it's like people are taking flu shots and second shots and all that, and there's a little fever and things like that. So I've got a little fever. Okay, doctor says take me Tylenol. Okay, wait a minute. Can you give me the Tylenol Samhita? I want to read all the 2000 slokas in Tylenol Samhita to understand how Tylenol operates. Do you do that? No, you just take the Tylenol. Does it act on you? It does. Did you understand how it works? No. So the same thing is there with the holy names of the Lord also, even if you don't understand. And that's why when you're out on Harinam, we ask people that, will you repeat after me? Hare Krishna, Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Right? This is the Nasti eva, Nasti eva, Nasti eva, Gatiranyata. There's no other way, no other way, no other way
No other
than
way.
to seek the help of something which is higher in consciousness, like that. So keep up the good work, Tatapa. And thanks
Thank
for
you,
asking this
Mataji. Thank
question. Yeah. Veera Bhava Dasi, Mataji, tell us what's your question.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavats Pranam.
Oh,
Mataji, I had a reflection about what you said. I think I don't know if you remember, but when I first came to ISKCON, I was all about, what is the point of doing this? What is the point of doing that? What is this? What is that? And you always told me read the Gita. And I was like, what is there in the Gita? Like I read it and I don't understand it. And everyone says read the Gita. And then I really like the point where you said that who we interact with, the Goshti Anandi, it refines us, and it's for testing us about and how we deal in this world, and it's like a test for us. And I really like that point, because in the beginning I never understood it. Like, what is the that Krishna in this material world, is this, so why should we engage? And now I have to realize that it's better that way, because you for weakness, you face uh, you face things that are that used to pull you down before. You face full on with.
did we lose her? I thought we were going to lose her because the voice was. Yeah. Veera,
Yes,
you went on mute though.
Sorry.
Yeah.
My internet connection went bad.
Yeah, I think your internet is having some issues there. Yeah, but I got the essence of what you were saying. Yeah, and in that context, there's a very interesting thing that somebody senior to me once told me, and that was that as you are evolving and you're consciously working on how do I react to different kinds of situations that arise in my life, it's very easy to control yourself when somebody who's a non-devotee, he does something. Like if somebody in the office misbehaves with me, right, doesn't talk properly, gets angry or whatever, it's easy for me to tolerate that, because in the back of the mind, this thing is going that this person is not a devotee. He has not read the qualities of a devotee. He has not read chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita. So he can, that's why he's behaving like that. Oh, I'm going to tolerate. It's easy to tolerate that. But when you come in the association of devotees and somebody behaves in a manner, somebody points out something to you, or you are helping and somebody scolds you and things like that, it becomes very difficult for us to adjust to that. And so the interesting thing that they were pointing out was that when we have some karmic reactions from the previous birth, where you had insulted somebody and you are now supposed to be insulted, but because of devotional service, you have reached at a stage where not everybody can insult you really, because even when they try to insult you, the non-devotees, you are like, I'm over it. So your karmic reactions are not going to dissolve. And that is why sometimes the devotees will behave with you in such a manner that, it'll be like, I thought you, Mataji, I thought you're initiated, you did this, you did that, like that, right? So we also have to remember that everybody here is in the path of progress, right? And it's a good thing to always think that everybody is better than I am, because that'll give a lot of peace of mind to us. And things will always flow from a higher direction to a lower, from a height to a lower height. That's how it flows. So if anything has to flow, including knowledge or mercy or whatever, you have to be in a lower position to be able to grab it and make the most of that. So yeah, thank you, Virabha, for bringing that point up. And I see Vindhyavali Mataji also raising her hand there. So we'll take it from you, Mataji.
Mataji, I not that anything concerned like this, but one thing is bothering me. I came there and I couldn't see Guru Maharaj and Guruma, and I couldn't see you, Delhi, because I came to the temple, you were there, but I missed you. And it is still bothering me, and I came back here. And then here, Vaisheshika Prabhu's god brother, he asked me, did you meet your Guru Maharaj there? That, ever since he asked me that, it's just my mind is I don't know what. I said, no, I couldn't meet 5 months I was there, 5 or 6 months I was there. And I couldn't meet anybody. And when I missed this class also, I was feeling so much. I told Sutapa Mataji, I said, oh no, I'm missing a class like anything. And what is happening when I signed on at 7 o'clock, class was not there. And Monday class was not there. Then you said, today class is not there. I saw that message. I said, what is going on? What did I do wrong? So it was bothering me. It was bothering me, Mataji. I don't know what to do.
Actually,
so what is that? Is there any solution for that?
Actually,
Krishna, Hare Krishna.
No, there's more. There's actually a saying that says that absence makes the heart grow fonder. So the fact that you were not able to meet your Guru Maharaj, ever since that person asked you that question, all that you're thinking of is your Guru Maharaj.
Yeah.
Right? So whether it is so here's the thing. There is a union in separation also. It seems like an oxymoron. How can there be a union in a separation, right? Now, when the queens of Lord Krishna, right, the 16,108 queens of Krishna whom he married, and then puts them in a palace, or the individual palaces, beautiful, opulent. And then what does Krishna do? Leaves Dwarika, comes to Hastinapur, because this Mahabharata thing is going on, right? And after the Mahabharata is over, then Yudhishthira begs him and says, please stay on for a little bit more time. So now more separation. Now, if you read the chapter 13 in the first canto of Bhagavatam, where Krishna returns to Dwarka, I think that's what it is. Mm-hmm. And there they talk about that, when his wife see him arriving, right? They see their husband arriving. Prabhupada in the purport says that they had never felt separation from him, because all the time when he was away, they were always thinking about him, right? So you would associate, and you have done it, like the ISKCON disciple course and all that. They talk about that Vani is more important than Bapu, right? So it doesn't matter if you met him or not, next time. And if you want to go very deeper into this to see what is there, so don't feel bad about it. But Guru Maharaj says that you should have a house on fire desire. House on fire desire basically means that if you're living, say, in Vietnam, and you don't know how to speak Vietnamese, and you have your own house, and one day you see the house is on fire, you run out to get the help of your neighbor. You don't know how to speak Vietnamese, but you're able to communicate and let him know that there's a fire in your kitchen. How are you able to do that without knowing the language? Because there was a strong desire, right? So if you develop a strong desire to do that, it'll happen. But it's not very necessary. And just because somebody asked that question, that did you meet him or not? It was just a general question. But
not that when he asked or anything, but I felt it.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. I stay 7 miles away from where my Guru Maharaj stays, right? And for the last more than 1 year now, I have seen my Guru Maharaj only once, not in his home also, right? During his Vyas Puja, there was a drive-through where my husband and I drove through by a house where he was standing outside. And for 11 seconds, we rolled down the window, did namaskar, and then drove away. That is all. A person who lives so close to Guru Maharaj. So that doesn't mean. And our Guru Maharaj's mood again was like, when Prabhupada was on the last days of his life here in past time here on this planet, there were disciples surrounding him and they were there taking care of him. But our Guru Maharaj preferred to stay back in USA, not only some other city in India from where he could rush, no, in USA, distributing books and doing what Guru Maharaj really wanted all his disciples to do. And he knew that when the results of these books go there, of the book distribution results, the scores go there, that's what makes Prabhupada feel happy. So he was trying to feel happy. Now there's nothing that prevents you from picking up paper, picking up pen, write a note to Guru Maharaj and ask him for special instructions for you, that you are here in Philadelphia. What is it special that he wants you to do? He will tell you, right? And once he tells you, then you do it. Because sometimes it can happen, yeah, Guru told me something, but I like this much better.
That's true.
The mind is there, right? So do that,
Yeah,
right?
but
And
it
so
was
maybe
bothering me now.
exactly, no, don't let it bother you. You will stay connected. You will stay connected to him through your thoughts, through the seva. I mean, recently my husband lost his brother, right? They were very, very
Yeah, I
attached.
heard.
And yeah, so he was devastated, and Guru Maharaj was talking to him on Zoom, right? We could have rushed there, drove 7 miles and said that, but for me, why I never drove those 7 miles always was that I don't want to carry coronavirus to my Guru Maharaj. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be the one who will do that. I will stay separated. Doesn't matter. He's coming on Zoom and all that. You're already watching him. You want to see the form. It's all that's my mood was like that. So what he told my husband, when my husband was saying that he was like my father, he was like my friend, and he guided me and all that. And then he said that anytime another situation comes across you in your life, you think about your brother and see what would he have done, and then you do the same thing. And that way you will forever, as long as you are in this planet, you will stay connected with your Guru Maharaj. How else do you think our Guru Maharaj stays connected with Srila Prabhupada, who's not there? Guru Maharaj was 21 when his spiritual master left him. He's more than 60 now. 40 plus years of separation. How do you handle that? Right? So through seva, through trying to do what his spiritual master told him to do, he has put his mind and body and words in doing that.
Surprisingly, this Sunday, last Sunday, after I came here, your temple was open.
It is not open. I have to tell you something. The temple is not open. It's only on there's a
Sunday.
There's a little form that you fill, and then you go and do darshan. It's not a free for all like that. You have to fill a form.
I thought, after I came, temple is open, at least I would have seen him like that. And I know,
by the way, he doesn't come to the temple. The temple is open. It's not necessary that he comes to the temple. Like tomorrow we are having Ram Navami. He's going to give the lecture from his home. Right? He has got so much of work to do, so much of work, right? He needs every pair of hands to help him in propagating Prabhupada's mission. That if we do sthane stitha, and that is what my verse from today, in support of BG 3.1 was that wherever you are, Vindyavali Mataji, you can help him in so many ways. So many ways.
I think I will write a letter to him
right.
like
And
that. Because this is the first time I had.
Yeah. He likes handwritten letters. So you don't even have to worry about technology, and I don't know how to write email. I don't know how to write word processor, formatting, nothing. Take a sheet of paper, and your lovely daughter, she will help you. She'll post and she'll do all kinds.
Yeah, she had something. They told her to be board member here, so she was not interested for that, and she asked him, "What is that? I'm not that interested. What do you want me to do?"
Yeah.
So this is the situation. She said, but he advised him. He advised her. So that was good. Yeah. But I see him in YouTube. I see him in Facebook. I see you in Facebook. But still, I'm missing. I didn't see directly personally.
It's a good thing. Yeah.
That's what.
It's a good thing to be also, right? Otherwise, that preciousness also goes away. Yeah. So we will ask you in the next class. Take out your notepad and tell me, did you write yes or no? You all are welcome to write to him. We love letters. Yeah. It could just be a short, it could even be a short note that you write. I watch your program. I liked it. These are the points that I like. You can write, the house and fire desire should be there. To stretch the hand, do that little exercise to pick up the pen. There is the pen. Yes.
I will do it.
There is the pencil. There is the paper.
I will do that.
Okay. I don't have it. Okay, we'll write tomorrow. So
tomorrow morning again, I'm going to the temple again, doing some service for Ramanami.
So now you have to
every Sunday.
Yeah. So your thought process now have to be that okay. So sit down and on a piece of paper, do your map of what you do every day, how your time is being spent, and in your super busy schedule, how can you include a 15-minute slot to be able to write to your Guru Maharaj? Maybe you won't find a 15-minute slot, then break it down into 5 3-minute 5-minute slots, and then write the letter piece by piece by piece like that. House and fire desire. You should have that. I want to do it.
Thank you, Mata. Thank you
You will do it.
for that verse.
There you go. Okay.
Thank you.
So I don't think there are any other questions. I didn't check the chat room. Did anybody say that? Yeah. Okay. Very good. Hare Krishna. Yes, Simi Mataji. Good to hear.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, can we just say Hare Krishna a few times together? Maybe.
Actually, I was going to end the call with this because I've heard so many people are sick.
So many I'm listening to.
Even I was about to request that.
Yeah. And it's so many whole families. I mean, you know, Garima Mat, I hear every day, I'm like, every day requests for prayers are coming.
Every day I'm doing
is doing that. In fact, I was going to suggest that we should actually, for all these days, we should always end these sessions with a prayer. So we should keep a little buffer.
That's true.
Over the time. We should keep a buffer for 5 minutes to go and sit down and chant for the good health of anybody. You know, earlier it used to be, for me, there was a list of people that I have to pray for because they're sick. But now it's like you can't even have a list. I mean, you have to really think about humanity as such that is suffering, the lakhs and thousands and tens of thousands that are suffering.
Yes, happening.
So we have to, you know, expand our prayers and include everybody. And these prayers for everybody are going to affect them in one small way. Garima, you wanted to say something?
No, Mataji, just wanted to ask you to do.
Yeah, we'll do that. So how about we chant 11 times? If you have, should we do that? Simi, Mataji?
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, we'll just start with them now. And you can all chant along together with me, unmute yourself and just spread the vibrations. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Rama, 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna.
Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari.
Hari Hari Bol.
Was it broadcast on Facebook today?
Did we not broadcast on Facebook? Is it?
Because I was trying to look for it when we were at the temple. I was trying to look for it on Facebook, but I couldn't find it, and I still don't see it on Facebook.
It's on Facebook is on.
Oh, is it on? Because I couldn't find it. Yeah, on my phone.